Hi there, my name is Tim Kraus with Cornerstone CPA, and I'm going to be going through our tax return process for the upcoming year. There's kind of three big steps with it. There is going to be the engagement step, the preparation step, and then actually finishing the return. So, by December 10th, we're going to send off an introduction email to kick things off, kind of letting you know what we're doing here, because we do something called scheduled taxes, where you will actually pick a deadline by which you'll have all your documents into us, and then we will know that we will work on your tax return during around kind of that tax document deadline. That way you know when we're going to be working on your stuff, and hopefully we're able to turn around those taxes in a very quick manner from that date, so that you know we're focusing on you during that time. So, important dates here. December 20th through the 23rd, we're going to be sending off engagement letters. These are to make sure that that we know that you're actually working with us. So, this is for prior clients who've done their taxes in the past, current clients, and also for other people that we've just talked to and they said they want to do their taxes. Actually signing this will actually get them on our list. This also really helps outline the scope. Also, it'll show the fees in there. We're going to show an example of this later. And we'll make sure that we have some clarity on the responsibilities and what we're going to need from you during this process. You will sign this engagement letter online. It's just an electronic form. It's pretty straightforward there. After that, you will get a welcome packet email, which we're going to go over as well, which has two important links. One is the Calendly link, where you're going to choose your tax document deadline. The second is the actual link to the portal, where you can start uploading documents. We will also send you an electronic tax organizer and checklist to help make sure that we get everything we need from you. The next phase here is the preparation phase, and I left this blank so that if you want to print this off and put in your own deadline, then you can. But let's say, for example's sake, my deadline was March 11th that I chose for myself for my personal return. There was an availability that day, and I think I'll have all my information in by that day. So then I go, that's just an example for what I would have for the date that I chose for myself there. So for the preparation phase, the most important part is going to be making sure that we get the information we need to do our job here. So W-2s, any tax document, 1099, 1098s, retirements, the list goes on and on. RSUs, F-bars, all the fun stuff, or the information that's needed for an F-bar. All the fun stuff that we need to do your taxes, that really needs to be in there so that we can make sure that we can actually do your return. Then when we actually go to file your return, when we're done with the return, we'll send you an invoice for the services, because we don't file the return until you've reviewed it, okayed it, and the invoice is paid. So the approval and payment, then we'll file your return with the IRS. Also, one thing that will be going off with the review that with the return that we sent to you, our CPA does do a video explaining some details about the return, and then if it's all good, you sign it, you pay the invoice, and then we're good to go. In this process too, there very likely is almost always some questions that get passed back and forth here during the preparation phase, between the preparation phase and actually the filing of the return phase. So, and that'll be done oftentimes either through email or through the portal, which we'll go into a little bit of the portal here in just a second. But that way we have it written down. We don't like to only do phone calls because we want a written record. That way we are all on the same page with what actually happened there. So here's what the engagement letter will look like that you'll be receiving between the 20th and the 23rd of December. This is what the email will look like. It will come from Canopy, because Canopy is our project management system that we are currently using. And then you will just click right here to open up the engagement. And then this is what the first page of it will look like. The price will be different based on the complexity of your return, and several factors from that. Here is just a random price. This is the service that it is, so this is for a 1040 return, which I covered up there. For 1040 return, and here is the price. If you have multiple returns, they will be broken out into multiple sections there. Here's some information basically about the service. There will be two other pages. One will be the terms if you only have a single return. One will be the terms, and then the other one, last page, will be the signature page. Make sure if you don't see those, make sure to press the next button so that you can get onto the next page there. But that is what the engagement letter will look like. Also, we will be sending you a tax organizer, and the organizer will come through an email that will look like this. So, again, this has basically your name. I just put myself in here, and then some basic steps through here, and similar to the engagement letter, a blue button to press to actually get into the organizer. The organizer is actually on your portal, which we'll go over the portal in just a second as well. And it will look like this. You will then want to open up the organizer, and then depending on what type of return you have, if you have a personal return, if you have a partnership return, if you have a S Corp return, if you have a C Corp return, all those will have different organizers, but in general they'll follow kind of the same format. There'll be a menu here on the side of all the different sections with a progress bar right up here letting you know how you're doing on your progress. You will then enter in your information in over here, and then this scrolls down much lower, so then you would just keep on scrolling down and entering in more of your information. Anything with a blue asterisk we really need, so please put it in there. The more information the better, but anything with a blue asterisk we really need. And then in this as well, and also in the portal separately, but they both go to the same spot, same bucket for us, you can upload your documents. So you'll be able to upload documents that you say. And something very important, if you have income and you mark, because there's many different checkboxes in there, if you mark many different sources of income that you have, and then if you don't put them in the actual uploaded documents, we will be contacting you during your document deadline to make sure we can get those. Because if we can't get enough information, if we're missing just a little bit at your tax document deadline, we'll work with you on that. But if you're missing a lot, we're going to have you do that all over again. That very well could mean having an extension. So, what the welcome email will look like. So, the welcome email will look basically like this here. And then we'll be inviting you to the tax season for 2020. This will actually be for 2024. And it will have two very important links here. The scheduled tax document due date, incredibly important. And then the sign back into your client portal. That's assuming if you had one before. But this is the sign in for your client portal. So we're going to go over what the tax document submission reminder looks like. So we're using Calendly for this. If you haven't used it before, it's a pretty straightforward scheduling app. And there will be days available. If they're blue, they're available. If they're white, they're not available. So you will just choose a date on here by which you think you will have all your documents into us. You know your tax situation. You know if you're in a partnership and they always give you the documents late. You know if a certain bank gives you certain documents late or when they give it to you. But this way you'll be able to choose a date by which you think you'll have all your documents into us. This reminder is not a phone meeting, a video meeting, or an in-person meeting. This is just to put something on your calendar and on our calendar to make sure that we know that you are actually planning on having all your documents in to us by then so that we could focus on your return at that time. You will then select a day with the dark blue, and then you'll press next here, which will then bring you on to this page here where you will put in all your information. Let me change the meeting a little bit. And also, I would really highly recommend adding a phone number as well, because we're going to send off a reminder a week before the deadline, and we will also send off a text reminder a week before the deadline. Those reminders are automatic, so if you already have all your documents into us day one, but it's still 20 days till your due date, then you'll still get those reminders. That's just how the system works. It's good to get your stuff in early, because if we get clients done early, then we're going to look at maybe ahead the next week and see if there's anyone we can who's already done that we might be able to work ahead to. Not saying that's going to happen, but I'm saying that that's a benefit of getting all your stuff in. But this is the deadline. This is to set up the deadline for that. Your portal. This is what the front page looks like, where then you will put in if you have an account, you'll put in that. If you don't, you'll put in your email and password. If you don't have an account, it will walk you through the account making process. Then you will have an account there. inside the account, and this is just one of mine here. So you will have your files section, which is this over here. Your files folder you can click on, and you can add files by clicking this button here and then dragging and dropping files in there. One thing with files you can have where there's multiple documents inside of one file, like, if you scan 10 documents inside of one PDF, that will work. Some file formats we won't be able to open, and or we've had issues with that in the past. And we will let you know if we can't. We could definitely open PDFs. We open PDFs, tons of them every day. We can open up JPEGs. We could open up some Word docs as well. We'd prefer them to be PDFs if possible, because that way they're not editable. And then then you will add files, and then we will move them to the appropriate folders. These will also be a folder. This isn't the folder structure that yours is going to be exactly, but it depends if this is a business or not. But we will also have a folder here for tax information eventually, that then we'll actually put your returns into, and you can go in there and look at your returns when they are done and filed. So that is an overview of the tax return process. Again, key highlights. We have the welcome email that's going out on the 10th. Big due date here is going to be between the 20th and the 23rd. We're going to start sending them off on the 20th. We have a lot of them to go through, and we got to go through them by hand one by one. And so we should be done by the 23rd with that. And we'll be sending some out over the weekend with that as well. And then, very important, look at your welcome packet and choose a document date. This is going to be very important to make sure that we can get your return done in time. We should be able to, if everyone wants to turn in their stuff, we should be able to get them all done without an issue, but we need it to be organized. We need to have a system to go about actually doing people's returns. And then we'll actually go to the filing process at the very end here, and the invoicing process, and then your taxes will be done here. So I'm Tim with Cornerstone CPA. I hope this is helpful, and I look forward to being part of the team that helps do your taxes this year. Thank you.